About 9 months ago, we created a video called 10 Cheap Products to Make Retirement So Much Better, most under $20. At the time, we built a database of products that were at or around $20, and the vast majority of these products cost less than $20, but we did capitulate on just a few of them. The problem we were faced with was that right on the other side of $20, there were some incredible products, but we couldn't bring them on the video without a really good reason, and we didn't have one. Now we do. So what do you do if you have a database of products between $20 and $40 that are also really inexpensive and really great for retirees? Well, you create a second video, and that's what this video is. It's 10 wonderful products that make retirement so much better, most under $40, except for one. Each of these products is awesome, and each of them will have a big impact on a retiree's life, frankly, on many people's lives, but these are particularly useful for retirees, and I own every single one of these. All right, let's get into it. Number one is the Glow-Crescent book light. Now, this is really cool. If you're in bed and you need to read, you just put on your Glow-Crescent book light and you turn on one or both of the lights. Now, the great thing about this is that it can change color as you are reading whatever's most comfortable for you. Now, the good thing about a Glow-Crescent book light over, say, something like an iPhone and reading on your iPhone is that these have a tendency to help you sleep, where these, because of the blue light, have a tendency to keep you awake. And frankly, if you turned on the overhead light in your room, well, it's much harder for you and somebody else to get to sleep at that point. It runs $29.99 on Amazon, and it has 124,000 reviews with an average review of 4.7 out of 5 stars. All right, enough said. Next is the LOHAS LED nightlight. It comes in a 2-pack, and the one thing that I really like about this nightlight is that it has indirect lighting, unlike most nightlights. One of the things I generally don't like about nightlights is that when you're walking, the light bulb is generally in your field of vision because it's down low instead of above you like a normal light. This can cause a lot of angst in the middle of the night when you're just getting up to get a glass of water, because now you're forced to stare at a light bulb, and it almost doesn't matter how many watts the light bulb has. When you're walking in the middle of the night, it will look very bright. But the LOHAS nightlight is indirect light. It has a shield in front of it, so it shines up and it shines down, but it doesn't shine at you. Also, aside from removing the shock value when you get up to get a glass of water, the other benefit is it actually looks quite nice. It's aesthetically pleasing. There's something about a light that's shining on a wall and then shining at you, which just looks better. It plugs right into the wall. It has a dusk-till-dawn timer, so it shuts itself off. And the light is daylight, so it's 5,000 Kelvin, the exact same frequency, I suppose is the terminology, as the sun. It comes in a pack of 2, and it is $31.49 on Amazon. Next up is the Water Drop water filter. This is the Lucid, although it comes in a lot of different models. This is the second one we've owned in the last 5 years. They're wonderful water filters, and the reason that I got the Water Drop is because of the filtering system that it has. We did a lot of research, and the Water Drop, at least for us, removes more of what's in our water. We have well water, as do many homes in New York, which means that the water coming into our home has a lot of minerals. Now, we do have a home system that cleans most of that up. However, it's not 100%, and you need something like the Water Drop to take out the remaining minerals, at least most of them. And it does a good job of taking out the minerals and chemicals that people really care about, like cadmium, mercury, copper, and of course chlorine. It's BPA free, it's easy to clean, and it comes out tasting just like bottled water. At least if you ask anybody in my house, that's what they taste. Along the same lines, if you're going to have a water pitcher, you do need something to store it in. It doesn't make a lot of sense if you're going to commit to a system like a water pitcher system to then carry plastic water bottles around with you. So a reusable water bottle is something that most people either have or they have access to, but there are certain types that are just not that great, and others are really great. What you should look for is an insulated water bottle. They're about 17 ounces, so that's the right size that fits into your backpack if you're going on a hike or it fits in the cup holder if you're going on a drive. They have a fully closable top. They're made of stainless steel, and they generally run about $25. And by the way, the ones that you get as a gift, they may be good, but if you don't know the brand or you don't know the product, if it's private labeled and they don't have any information about it, well, the issue is you don't really know what's going on the inside, which means that you could have rust or something else building up on the inside. It's just not something that you fully are aware of. However, the stainless steel ones do a good job of avoiding all of that. And more importantly, if you're going to invest in that type of water bottle, you probably don't want to put it in the dishwasher. In fact, I would say that most of them aren't dishwasher safe, which means that you need one of those funny water bottle cleaners. They're easy to use. You put a bit of soap in, you put a bit of water in, you run your water bottle cleaner in and out a few times, rinse it off, and you're done. Next up, binoculars, and in particular ochre binoculars, which run $35.99. They have a 12x magnification. They're reasonably small. You can take them with you just about anywhere, but they're very useful in retirement or in life, really. You can take them with you in the car. You don't have to get out of your car to look at things that are happening off in the distance. And you can see what's happening outside of your home as well. The binoculars, because they have 12x magnification, allow you to see pretty far away without actually leaving the comfort or safety of your home. More importantly, they work reasonably well in lower light. They're not powered by a battery, so they only can do so much, but they work reasonably well in lower light. They have rubber eyepieces. If you have glasses, you just put them right up to your glasses. You don't need to take off your glasses. And their price point is quite attractive at $35.99. Historically, a good pair of binoculars has cost quite a bit of money, but the cost has come way down because lens technology has improved so dramatically in the last few years. What used to cost several $100s, even more, you can now pick up for about $36. Next up is a TV streaming device like an Amazon Fire Stick or a Roku. They're about $25 and they actually include a remote. They plug right into your HDMI port on the back of your television, and you can start using it immediately. You can also access the traditional streaming services, Netflix, Paramount Plus, Disney, Max, and others. They're all right on the stick, and you just simply put the app on, and if you already have a subscription, sign in. If you don't, then you'll need to pay for a subscription. And I know it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've said it a few times on this channel. If you have a cable box at home, a traditional cable box at home, one in each room, plus you're paying for cable service, plus you're paying to rent the remote controls that go into all of that, that can be really, really expensive. Something like this can probably replace everything that you have now for a fraction of the price. Next up is the JBL Bluetooth headphone for $39.95. It is a wonderful pair of headphones. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's the alternative to the bud type of phone that actually goes in your ear, which a lot of people don't like or they just can't use. They Bluetooth your iPhone, your Android. You can Bluetooth it to a lot of the different type of televisions if you have a Bluetooth-enabled television. And so this is the type of headphone that you want if you don't want the bud type of headphone, and it's actually quite reasonable. Next up is the bedside caddy organizer. If you don't have one of these and you've never thought about getting one of these, this will be an aha moment for many of you. Now, when you go to bed, oftentimes you have a lot of stuff on the nightstand. You have your remote. You have the place where you put your phone, you charge your phone, or you at least place your phone there. You take off your watch, you put other things on your nightstand, and by the time you go to bed, it looks pretty disheveled. A bedside caddy organizer allows you to place all of that in one location and keep it organized so that you can get to it when you need it, but you're not going to trip over it, so to speak, in the middle of the night when you're reaching for a bottle of water. I will say that none of them are particularly attractive, but I do like the Kickerland felt bedside caddy organizer. It's about $25, and what I like about it is that it's simple. It's one pocket. It's not trying to be something magnificent. It doesn't have pockets everywhere for you to stick a remote and a bottle of water and a book and everything else that's on your nightstand. It gives you one big pocket, and you put it in there however you want to put it in there. And it's designed to work with most mattresses, most couches, which means you can really use it in just about any room in the house. Next up are the Fiskars lightweight knee pads for gardening and for housework. They run about $12, and for a lot of people, they're a lifesaver. They prevent pain in your knees when you're working on the ground, out in the garden, or around the house. And a lot of people actually don't think about knee pads when they do their work. They just grin and bear it because, well, it's been fine so far. But you really don't need to be in pain when you're working down low. They're moisture proof, so you can work in damp gardens, even wet gardens if you need to. And importantly, they're hard on the outside, soft on the inside where your knees go. You can put them on simply by adjusting 2 straps on each side, and you're done. Finally, the last one, a passport. Now, you may not own a passport, and you may not think you'll ever need a passport. But let me tell you, when you need a passport, you generally need it quick, unless you happen to be planning a big trip. But sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, it sneaks up on you. Let me explain. An acquaintance of mine's son was getting married. Now, traditionally, it's the bride's parents who pay for the wedding. I don't know who came up with that idea. I have 2 girls. I'm going to be paying for 2 weddings, I suppose. But the important point to note here is that the cost of a wedding isn't cheap. And the bride and groom decided that rather than have the parents pay for this big wedding, they'd rather have the funds to put down on a home. At least put something down on a home, and then they would cover the rest in time. A very sensible thing to do, by the way. About 3 weeks before the wedding, the couple, mainly the bride, decided that they did in fact want some sort of destination wedding, if nothing else. It didn't need to be expensive, but they wanted to go to Martinique and have a very small wedding there, so it wouldn't cost a lot, except for the flights, of course, and the flights that people would pay for to get there. Put that aside for a second. For them, it didn't cost a lot. And so they wanted to have this wedding in Martinique, and it went from a wedding that was supposed to be done at the Justice of the Peace at Town Hall to a proper wedding on the beach in Martinique. And there was 3 weeks of lead time for the guests to get ready to go. Now, Martinique is overseen by the French Republic, so that means you need a passport to get there if you're from the United States. The gentleman who I'm friendly with was in a very bad situation because he didn't have a passport, nor did his wife, and they had 3 weeks to get one. Now, if you go online and you look at the passport office, it takes 4 to 6 weeks to process a passport, plus 2 weeks of mail time, a week there and a week back, so potentially up to 8 weeks for a wedding that's happening in 3 weeks. Now, there are ways around this. You can pay for expedited service, and that'll cut a few weeks off of the process, but that still didn't do it. Now, there's one option, and that's urgent service, where you actually go to the passport office, you pay a lot of money, you show up in the morning, you show them your documents, and you leave with your passport later that day. But unfortunately, you need an appointment at the passport office, and sometimes to get an appointment, it might take 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, unless you're willing to drive to places like Buffalo, New York. I know that because I had to drive to Buffalo, New York to get an expedited passport, not because I didn't have one, but because I lost one, and the day before I was supposed to travel, I couldn't find it. But I digress. Having a passport on ready is one of the best investments you can make for that time that you need to leave the country very quickly. And no, I'm not talking about because you're in trouble. I'm talking about because there's something that has been presented to you, an opportunity that you want to act upon. The cost of a passport is $130 for the application fee. If it's your first passport, you have to pay an additional $30 for what's called an execution fee. And if it's a renewal, then it's just $130. And your passport is valid for 10 years unless it's a child's passport, so that's age 15 and lower. Then it's valid for 5 years. By the way, he and his wife did get their passport in time, and they did attend the wedding in Martinique, so it all worked out. If you like this video, check out that video on 10 cheap products under $20 that make your retirement so much better. Also, don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get alerted the next time I post a video. We have a team here that works very hard on these videos, and they use the number of subscribers as sort of a scoreboard for how well the video did. So if you haven't subscribed, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe. In return, we'll deliver great videos to you. This is Jeff Schmidt, and I will see you in that video right there.